Soul Garden. Live, love, be.
Good morning from my smartphone to yours. Bella and I are casting love from the Series Today Garden Studios in Costa Mesa, California. And this is your Thursday Namaste Today. Good morning and namaste, and welcome to Namaste Today. I'm your host and spiritual life coach, Christopher Witecki. My modality is psychic astrology, and my personal mission is to stand in my heart and help other people into theirs. Thank you so much for logging in. This webisode is for Thursday, January 21st, 2015, and I am happy to announce that today the Great Human Walk will make it to step 1, Aquarius. Now, for starters, we actually begin the day in step 0, Aquarius, so I'll say that 0 means 0. The energy might be strange. It might be difficult to get out of bed today. Your energy might be lagging. But once we shift to 1 degree, or step 1 as I like to call it, you'll just see everything perk up. In fact, this is one of those times where if you have any doubts of vibration and astrology and how astrology can time vibration, pay attention to what time you suddenly just perk up today. And at that moment, you'll see I've posted something on Facebook probably. I have sent my subscribers a Serious Me alert. And you'll see for yourself that energy shifts do change. It's something I witnessed one time when I was in a study group and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to track this. So let's look at today's mood. I think today's going to be sunny and twinkly, or it could be sunny and kind of a disappointment. Kind of depends on how you manage your emotions, all right? Now let's go through the states. I feel our heart is where we belong today. So that's really the core issue. Step 1 is I love. Aquarius is belong. So today, very simply, the universe is saying you're getting our hearts online and trying to find out where they belong. Now, the universe is assuming that you're not where you belong, okay? Like, I got to tell you that. Why? Because law of attraction is ongoing forever. So your heart may belong in the same place that it did last year, but you still say, my heart belongs here, and my heart belongs in new places. So today, we're trying to get to where our heart belongs. We feel emotional, and we feel uncertain. That's because the moon is in Cancer, so you're going to feel wishy-washy. This is where you have to kind of step it up and be there for yourself, because your emotions might be sluggish regardless, okay? They need to kind of be cleared out anyways, so you can charge them with the new Aquarius intentions, and they need to be released of the Capricorn intentions. So there's a bit of that going on as well. I received the action plan for believing today. I received the action plan for believing. That is Venus at step 27 Sagittarius, if you want the astrological citation. And literally, we're going to understand what we need to do next. That's my prediction. So in the next 24 hours, you'll understand what you need to do next, and you'll understand why you didn't understand. It was because you weren't quite certain where you belonged, okay? Like, it just kind of all stacks up on that. That's what I love about consciousness. I act and I am on actions today, enforcing my boundaries. So we are enforcing our boundaries. We have to enforce our boundaries. This is not a time to not tell a person they crossed a line. You absolutely must communicate it now that they crossed a line. If you don't, they will stupidly keep crossing it forever. Okay, so you want to set that intention in stone. They will remember more than usual now is what it is, because Mars is setting those intentions. And finally, I decide to believe in what I love and where I belong. That's what Saturn is saying. I decide to believe in where I love and in what I love and where I belong. That's step 13, Sagittarius. So today is going to be a sunny and twinkly day if your heart understands where it belongs, because I think you'll be kind of dreamy and you'll want to go in that direction and you'll want to just kind of twinkle about it. But if you've neglected your heart for the last 30 days, your heart will want to throw a temper tantrum today, and that is what consciousness does. Consciousness kind of acts out when it's ignored. That's all consciousness. Your body will act out with Cancer if you ignore it. You know, your emotions will act out. Everything acts out if it's ignored in consciousness. You're supposed to be aware of your awareness, not ignoring yourself, right? So if you've ignored your heart, you have a bad day today, it's because you've been not a nice babysitter to yourself, and you're going to need extra popsicles, and if it were me, a lot of extra attention, okay? So, your joy quest, should you choose to accept it, is to connect to your heart today and ask that inner child where you belong. Connect to your heart and ask your inner child where you belong. It may be in a promotion. It may be in a relationship. It may be in a new town. It may be in a new, it can manifest everything. And in each of the 12 signs are all kind of using one area of their life to represent the total I belong. But today, connect to that him or her and ask, where do I belong? Let's move on to today's topic. Today's topic is the state of I belong, the art of attraction. And I mean that in all seriousness. Aquarius really is the art of attraction, if you want to think about it that way. If you don't know, as far as astrology is concerned, what astrology tells us is how the human consciousness comes together. And according to astrology, according to what I call the architecture of incarnation, on one side is Aquarius of our consciousness. That means in one side of our relativity, we're always in our relativity looking at where we belong. And on the other side of that relativity, we're looking at what we love. That's Leo. So it goes from what we love to where we belong. In fact, love to belong is the manifestation path. You don't manifest something from dead to alive. You actually manifest from loving something, and where does it belong on earth? That's the arc of manifestation. So the truth is that Aquarius has a lot to do with how we manifest and how things come to terms. In fact, Aquarius basically rules the law of attraction. The law of attraction is based on what we love. The love is over here. I love this. Aquarius says, oh, you love that? Well, then it goes with this. And that's what Aquarius does. Aquarius is basically this matchmaker. And that's why it comes into, in the higher forms, humanity, into communities, where all these people have this in common in this region. All these people have this in common in this consciousness. And really, it's not even regions or consciousness, it's frequencies. When it comes to human consciousness, we're talking about frequency here, frequency there. So today, we're learning about attraction, really, and you might feel very attractive, and I think Aquariuses, although they're quite, they don't admit it, they love to be attractive too, just like Leos, because Leo Aquarius is the same sign. It's just a different side of the coin, all right? And we know a lot of attractive Aquariuses, and you have to say, they're kind of sparkly. I noticed that Aquariuses are kind of sparkly personalities. Part of that's because they're kind of cold and detached, so they step away. But they're also shiny, like Leos, so they kind of twinkle at different facets. You know what I'm talking about? So, like, let me name a couple of Aquariuses. Ronald Reagan, first of all. He had a weird twinkle that united the whole country. I mean, politically, he really had a twinkle. People just love Ronald Reagan, right? Oprah, she's got a twinkle too. In fact, I think we watch Oprah to see when she twinkles, because she's always in this pose, and then when she opens up and does one twinkle, we're like, oh my God, you see Oprah twinkle? You know what I mean? Like, did you see Oprah say that? I saw that. You know what I mean? So Oprah's the same thing. Jennifer Aniston, she's like been in a dating movie with every leading man in Hollywood. Every leading man in Hollywood. Everyone we've seen her marry and fall in love with once, right? Like, talk about twinkle there. Abraham Lincoln, maybe not so much twinkle. I don't know. Like, at least in the recreations, he seems kind of fuzzy, but still one of the most popular men in time. And then lastly, Ashton Kutcher, who literally started as a model, right, and twinkled that way, and, really just brings twinkle. So let's go to the 5 o'clock question, because I want to help you identify where you belong in life. And being an astrologer of 20 years now, I've started to see some clear patterns. I implement these patterns, by the way, in my personal sensei service, and I'll talk about that at the end of the show. But today's first question is to kind of help you understand where you belong. And this is the question. When you were 7 years old, where did your heart think you belonged? Okay? When you were 7 years old, where did you feel you belong on the planet? It's very important at 7 years old. So I don't care if you have to take all day to remember your age 7 and ask your heart, like, what was my heart dreaming? If you want to know where you belonged, in simple terms, it's what does your heart think you were meant to be when you grow up? And that could be, president, married, all sorts of things. Your heart felt it belonged somewhere. It had a calling at age 7. Age 7, very important there astrologically. And the follow-up question, where did your heart feel it belonged at age 21? Where did it feel it belonged at age 36? Okay? And obviously, if you're youngins and you're watching this, apply it later once you turn that age. So I will answer the question, and I'll answer it just kind of like the way I think a viewer would answer. Where do I feel I belong at 7 years old? Oh, that's such an easy question. I belonged being the next Walt Disney. My heart knew I was next Walt Disney. I wanted to open up my own Disneyland, and my heart wanted to do that. And that was based on, of course, going to Disneyland as a child like 20 times and living in Long Beach as a child. So I pretty much wanted to be magical and do magical stuff at age 7. Then by age 21, I wanted to be a filmmaker that made movies that were magical, and I thought filmmaking was the way to do it. Then at 36, I thought, oh, you know what? I want to make magic and include spirituality. So by 36, I had included spirituality and helping people come in their spirit into the formula. The point is here is that 7 is very important. For people who've taken my classes, I teach this, but I've learned in the 11 Steps to Serious Joy that consciousness opens up in a certain sequence. It opens in a certain sequence. In the 7th year of our life, step 7, okay, we are most true to who we are. So as a child, your truths come in. Your spiritual truths, all of your truths. It comes at age 7. At age 8, you start deciding if you want to keep those or not. So by age 8, people start talking themselves out of being psychic. So the child psyche, they say, when I was a kid, I was psychic, whatever. Yeah, till age 7. At age 8, you started deciding that it wasn't true. And age 8 is a Saturn year, by the way. So every 7 years, this happens by the cycles and circles of astrology, is that every 7 years you will come back into your spiritual truth. This has been noted in other Lightwalkers' work too, that we have this 7-year spiritual cycle in our life, and you can look at your 7-year cycles. Well, the truth of your 7-year cycle is you know who you are, and so you can apply this. Every 7 years, you're spiritually in touch with yourself, and when you're spiritually in touch with yourself, you know what your heart wants, and you know where you belong. Then the next year, you start saying no to yourself and talking yourself out of it. Every 7 years, you do that. Now, I know where you are in your 7-year cycle, but I bring this all up because when we go into Aquarius, I don't care where you are in your 7-year cycle, you can get on your path because it's Aquarius. So this month, if you watch, and this month, if you subscribe to my personal sensei service, that's what we're going to be working on, getting on the path of where you belong. But you can start on your path right there at home by just analyzing where your heart felt you belong every 7 years. All right, let's take this on the inside and move on to the Zen Den. And welcome to the Zen Den. And if you don't take the opportunity for yourself, try to take it now with me. 3 simple breaths, connect to your guides. And if you want to know what I'm doing, I kind of visualize white light coming down through my crown and just blasting out my heart. And I just basically, I have this visualization of just blasting out bacteria, blasting out, any ickies, just blasting out and just kind of clearing myself out. That's what I do in my 3 breaths. And you can do that for all the chakras. You can do that just for your heart. The quick start, jumpstart your heart, that's what you want to do, really, is just to your heart. Once your heart's happy, everything lightens up anyway. So it doesn't have to be long. So let's take 3 breaths. Okay, so I have an affirmation for today that'll help you kind of on your way, and here it is. I feel my heart today, and I'm open to where I belong. I feel my heart today, and I'm open to where I belong. And even if you think you know where you belong, I think it's wise to stay open, because one of the things I have surely found in Aquarius is that it's full of surprises. And you're quite often surprised that your heart goes with that and your heart goes with that. And that's part of the delight of living in the light. So let's take a look at our overhead and see what the planets have to say today. We have an airplane that's charging in here, so hang tight with us. This was, it's actually a helicopter, I think. This was printed at 11:21 a.m. when actually, it's funny, the sun is at step 1 and 11 minutes, as we say. So it's interesting. And this is the moment really where you start to feel it. In fact, really it is. 1:11, if you want to get into minutes and seconds in astrology, 1:11 is the moment when everything is lit up at that point. And people always say, oh, I have this 11:11 kind of thing in my head. Well, guess what? 11, when the ones line up, that's basically consciousness awakening. So consciousness is fully aware that it's aware that it's aware. And what's really funny about 11:11 is mostly what it's about is that you're just going, yep, I'm aware. And then every 11:11, I'm aware. And that's what consciousness is doing at that time, is it's saying, yes, I'm aware. So, yes, it aware. At 11:21, we are aware. The helicopter is cleared too. That was my little device to buy time, by the way. Clever me. Wonka wonka. And what this means is we're now in Aquarius, which is the step 4 energy, I belong. So, if you're manifesting reality, you have to tell reality that in the 4th step, where your wish belongs. And that's where most people don't understand manifestation. They know they want to manifest this, but they don't know who would like it. They know they want to manifest this, but they don't know where it goes. They know they want to manifest this, but they feel weird, right? And you have to plot out where it goes on Earth, where it can fit on Earth. You got to tell a landing stage. So we're going to be working on that today. When I asked Spirit, hey, what do you want to talk about? Spirit was like, talk about Uranus. Actually, I said Uranus, but Spirit was making a joke. Uranus, however you want to say it, it's a tomato thing, but it is the ruling planet of Aquarius. By ruling planet, we mean somehow the planet itself of Uranus stirs the vibration of the step 4. Okay, how is it stirring it now? Well, the universe is attempting to innovate our ego. Aries, innovate our ego. We're trying to bring our ego up higher right now. So as far as anything getting better on Earth, anything improves. So if you want to improve a product, you want to improve a song, you want to improve, you want to improve politics. Creator is saying, well, why don't you innovate everyone's ego? No shift, right? And I think we're seeing that as far as guns and all this sort of thing and violence, and the world's kind of going, you know what, we don't want to, no more egos trying to control the world's crops. No more egos trying to control this, So I think we all feel this. The point is a lot of the I belong has to do with letting go of old ego. Old ego is what holds us back. Old ego is what's keeping us from seeing the truth. And our ego, what I affectionately call the dumbass, okay? Our ego is trying to win, trying to fight till the bitter end. That's what the ego's here to do. But if it's aiming at the wrong war on drugs, war on whatever, right? Then it is way distracted. And that, I think, is the intention of a lot of wars, is to distract. Now, I want to bring to our attention that today we are feeling where we belong. We're feeling where our heart is. And we have a grand trine in water. Also, I call a soul pyramid. And this is where literally the light unites, in this case, the light of emotional connection. And so the emotional points of ourself all come together today, and we kind of resonate. You could say this is like a Yoda day, where you're going to be really clear on certain things. You can use the force of love to see what's coming in. In this case, it's quite interesting. Look at this. Has Neptune gone to 8 here? Yeah. Neptune's at step 8, so we are making decisions about where we are spiritually. The moon is the instigator here. It's going to stir through our emotions through the first half of the day, so all the crap at the bottom of the pond gets stirred up at the beginning of the day. So anyone in my text service, you'll be getting warnings like, watch out, the old, Uncle Bob's back, whatever that person is. And then Mars, this is the interesting point I want to point out. Mars at step 9, okay, step 9 Scorpio, which means that Mars is at step 9 of step 0. So in the step 0 of I protect, we're at step 9. So we're at the 9th step of protecting our life, okay? And the 9th step is we act, we move forward. So everyone's boundaries are moving forward. What's the big picture here? The big picture here is you may think you belong somewhere. You may think you belong over there, over there, over there, but it may not feel right when you get there. And that's kind of what the universe is doing here, is letting you look, but letting you feel. Because your soul is talking here, your experience on earth is talking here, and your I'll be damned if I ever do that again is talking here. And I'm not fucking doing this. So it's like, and that's what Mars is. Like, I am not, and Scorpio's doing this. It's a line draw. So a lot of this, and so I guess what I'm getting to here is that this emotional shift, if you feel like you belong here, and you want to get there, well, here's the answer. First of all, feel it out and see if it's true, if the rest of your soul agrees. Does it agree with your boundaries? Does it agree with your soul's sense? And does it agree with how you feel in all the bottom in the pond? Does it agree with that? Here's the other thing to ask yourself. Is it a higher ego, or are you going to go try to win some old fight? Because if you're going to go win some old fight, it's not going to play. I'll give you one final note here that just came to me spiritually. I don't care what your plans are. Think about 1700s when the America went through the American Revolution, the last time Pluto was in Capricorn, okay? Now, I'm sure a whole bunch of colonists were planning on going into cool industries here in the United States, like developing red clothing for soldiers and all sorts of British troop, supplies. But the truth is if that's what your business was and we went through a revolution, then I guess your business ain't going anywhere. You've got to check right now in Aquarius. Aquarius is the map. Aquarius is where you belong. You got to check everything. You may think you belong here, but it may not feel right because of other things going on. You may feel like you belong here, but it may not feel right because it's the old ego in play and you're still trying to win against your ex-husband or wife. That ain't going to work, especially once there's a re-evolution. I mean, certainly the divorce fight won't fight over there. So this month, my friends, and as Mercury is still retrograde, we have some more contemplating on where we truly belong now that we've got the power issues out of the way with Capricorn. All right, anything else? Oh, cool. There's the last thing. Jupiter is at step 22, which adds to a 4. And so what this basically means is Jupiter is in Virgo, step 11, where we belong. I mean, where we become something, like how we become and where we become. And since it's there, it's at a moment waiting to go quantum. As soon as you know where you belong, you will see reality unfold and go that way. Okay, I'm going to leave it here. This went a little long, but we had some good channeling there. Thanks, everyone, for logging in. It's such a pleasure to be of soul service, and I'm grateful for you. One little shout-out today for my personal Sensei Service subscribers. Your Aquarius story will begin. So we'll start talking about at 12 in your personal Sensei. Where you believed you belonged when you were born. So the soul has a feeling of where it believes it belongs. But then in the next few days, I'm going to be talking about where it looks like, looking at your aim, where you truly belong. So trying to help you unfold that, and you'll get that starting at noon, your local time. All right, friends, I will see you in 24 hours with my Fun Friday show. Until then, please live in your heart. And remember, I love you, and live, love, be.
SoulGarden.tv.
Bring me this Austin Powers.